So my name's Sarah. So I had my Rory on the 20th of December 2022. We spent 93 days in 3 different NICUs. So our first transfer was obviously, I think, when Rory was about 5-6 days old. Because obviously we'd never been in neonatal world before, we weren't really sure what to expect. So there was the offer for me if I wanted to go in the ambulance for the transfer. Again, I really wasn't sure what to expect, and so it was a bit of a shock to see all of the other professionals that were going to come in the ambulance with us alongside the little mini spaceship, we used to call it, that Rory was travelling in. So basically there wasn't really any pre-warning, and if you haven't rode in an ambulance before, no one tells you how shaky an ambulance ride is. So that was one of our first ambulance rides, and I found it quite traumatic, to be honest, because Rory's sats were very up and down on the ride, as you'd expect, because he was born so prematurely and he was so tiny. One of the other things about transfer between neonatal is you don't get much warning. So I think I'd rang the unit on Christmas. It was Christmas Day night, actually, and out of the blue, I got told Rory's going to move tomorrow. I knew nothing that was on their thoughts, so it was a real shock to us. But obviously, as we started to move and did more movement around the region, I kind of knew that we wouldn't get much notice. We wouldn't get much choice about whether we actually did want to move at that point. Obviously, because we had lots of transfers, I think what would be really useful going forward would, again, we were told we were moving to a hospital. I'd never been to some of these hospitals. Obviously, I was going on the internet trying to find stuff myself. But it would have been really good to see maybe pictures of the different units that we were going to be going to, things like where we would park, maybe where the canteen is, where there's potential baby changing areas for our other little boy that we were also had at the time to take onto the unit. So I feel like that would be really useful for families going forward, where instead of having to hunt on the internet for yourself, if there's just one place that can kind of explain what all the other neonatal units look like within the region, that would be really great. It was quite tricky because every unit had different rules about who was allowed to come and see Rory, who was allowed in without us. So for example, at the RVI, any visitor was allowed as long as parents were present at cotside, whereas James Cook, it was only grandparents who were actually allowed on the unit. And again, they could visit without us, which I found quite helpful at times because, like I say, it was very different for every unit. So again, maybe some advice and some further information about what the unit might look like and who will be allowed to visit would be really useful.